Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. What was Bryan Kohberger doing at a Margaret Atwood lecture years ago? Bryan Kohberger, front row at a Margaret Atwood lecture at Northampton Community College. The woman in the middle of that photo, standing, was Margaret Atwood. Who is Margaret Atwood? Well, it's interesting what her lectures and what her philosophy is, but there is a report about Bryan Kohberger at this lecture. I also want to share a video about Margaret Atwood, but let me show you this report first. Check it out. So Fox News is reporting alleged incel Bryan Kohberger took front row seat at Handmaid's Tale author Margaret Atwood lecture. Kohberger pictured holding a copy of The Handmaid's Tale at Atwood lecture. Bryan Kohberger was pictured in the front row seat at a 2018 lecture of prominent author Margaret Atwood at Northampton Community College, years before he was accused of murdering 4 college Idaho students. Atwood's body of works include the best-selling novel The Handmaid's Tale, a dystopian story about a government-sponsored subjugation of women. It was adapted for television by Hulu in 2017, and protesters on a range of women's issues at times have appeared in costumes from the show. While authorities have not divulged a possible motive in the Idaho stabbings, past acquaintances have described Kohberger as frustrated by females and even sexist as a result. One woman who met the criminal justice student on Tinder date 7 years ago turned to social media claiming her interaction with him was so awkward she pretended to vomit to get him to leave her apartment. So, yeah, interesting. Kohberger, and here's a picture of Kohberger right here at this lecture by Margaret Atwood. Why was he there? Why was he there? Another person said, a former friend said, Kohberger had been ruthlessly bullied by female classmates, like classmates bullied him. Do you think females bullied him? Sarah Healy, who went to a Pennsylvania high school with Kohberger, said he was shy and kept to himself in a small group of friends, but sometimes with their classmates, especially females, mocked Kohberger and threw things at him. I honestly think that's what led up to this, because he didn't get that proper help, and it was mainly females that bullied him. Interesting. Why was Kohberger at this lecture, surrounded by mostly females in the front row? Let me know what you think. Okay, so, with this Moscow, Idaho case, was it a women issue? Did Bryan Kohberger have issues with women? And was that kind of the motivating factor here with this tragedy that occurred in Moscow? November 13th, 2022, 4 college students brutally stabbed. 4 females, well, actually 3 females, 1 guy. It's believed that Ethan Chapin, one of the victims, was almost like collateral damage, wasn't necessarily supposed to be there. So was this a target on women? Let's listen to this conversation Margaret had with another journalist about feminism. Check it out.
You've successfully turned dark history into fictional dystopian futures. In Handmaid's Tale, you imagined a world where women are treated as slaves and forced to give birth. In real life, many women dress as handmaids from your book to protest abortion restrictions. Why do you think that your book and show resonates with so many people?
Well, unfortunately, it was moving away. I should say, fortunately, it was moving away from The Handmaid's Tale from 1985 till about, say, 2010, but now it started moving back towards The Handmaid's Tale, and that's why it resonates. And we are seeing in various countries around the world the return of pretty repressive policies towards women, including some states in the United States.
Yesterday was, of course, International Women's Day. You say that it's roll up the sleeves time, as there are just so many challenges right now. In one essay, you say that these rights hang by a thread. What gives you hope in the face of what many women say are so many setbacks in recent years for women's rights?
Well, there have been setbacks. There have also been the reverse of setbacks in some other countries. I'm thinking of Ireland, I'm thinking of Argentina, which have made things somewhat less repressive for women. But, you know, things have been worse. And people of my age, I was born in 1939, so I was a child all during World War II, which was pretty horrible. So yes, they've been worse. People pitched in, everybody worked together. And in times of crisis, that's what you need. And you can see people in the Ukraine doing that right now.
And your collection of essays sets out to answer burning questions like, how can we continue to live on our planet? In the book, you say that nature, in effect, will outlast us if we spoil the planet. Something else will survive. We have a weekly segment on climate on our show called It's Not Too Late. Do you believe that it's not too late to turn things around for our planet?
I believe it is not too late. And I'm looking at a lot of new inventions, new materials, new procedures. And if you go to a website called Project Drawdown, you can see the materials, procedures, and the statistics, like how much would this cost, how much carbon would it save? And they're working very hard at that, and so are a lot of people. So we have the smarts. We could do this. But will there be the determination? Will there be the will? And how can we do it in a way that's attractive and not just a lot of tut-tutting and finger pointing, which is not really very helpful.
And lastly, in your essay, Greetings, Earthlings, what are these human rights of which you speak? You offer this parting message. Earthlings, behave yourselves, have fun when possible, avoid totalitarianism, enjoy cat videos, read up on human rights. It's a plea from an alien for humans to come up with solutions themselves. What do you feel needs to happen to get us all talking with each other, not to each other, to help solve some of the world's biggest problems?
Well, I think the starting point would be go and read the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And you can add to that the Universal Declaration of Rights for Women and the Declaration of Indigenous Rights. But begin with the human rights, because I think we've forgotten a lot of those things. And we have not paid enough attention to the fundamental underpinnings of democracy. So human rights and democracy are having a bit of an upsurge right now, because I think people have woken up and thought, hey, wait a minute, what's the alternative? It doesn't look good. So if we want this thing that's better, we should try to fight to sustain it, or possibly even implement it in some cases.
Overall, so glad to hear you say that you believe that it is not too late to save the planet. We thank you so much for your time and your insight, Margaret Atwood. You can buy her collection of essays, Burning Questions, wherever books are sold.
So what do you think? You know, Kohberger was at that lecture for some reason. What was his curiosity? If you can attend lectures and events and concerts, anything out there, but you're at a Margaret Atwood lecture. And, you know, a lot of her books are about women. Just wondering here. What do you think? Subscribe to my channel. Oh, we always talk about parallels, you know, between Kohberger and BTK or Ted Bundy. What about Elliot Rodger? Elliot Rodger. Look up Elliot Rodger if you don't know who Elliot Rodger is. Elliot Rodger, you know, did a bad act, and it was targeting women. He didn't like women. So could this have been the motive of this whole thing could have been a women issue? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button covering the Bryan Kohberger case. We will talk soon. Everyone be safe. God bless.